lawfare, who goes after people, notice they're almost always Republicans, and ties them up in years and years of frivolous criminal litigation, criminal process. So I would just say this. Number one, there is oversight coming to Attorney General Nessel's office, and she knows that. And that's one reason why she's saying the things she's saying. But I would just say there's oversight coming. There's going to be scrutiny on that budget. I mean, her department and her office is out of control. I mean, these people are going after innocent Michiganders and just tying them up in years and years of criminal, cases. And you notice they keep getting dismissed. I mean, this one where she went after those two people who made an innocent mistake over in St. Clair Shores, and it gets dismissed. And I mean, you look at DePerno, that's not going anywhere. I mean, years and years of this. And then you look at all those electors, and how about yesterday? How about yesterday, where we voted in a peaceful process to elect Donald Trump with our electoral votes? And you saw John Haggard there, you saw Michonne Maddock there, you saw a lot of great people there who are facing unfair criminal prosecution from Nessel. So I'll just say, we saw this to President Trump, where the Democrats used lawfare against him. We're not going to be bullied and intimidated by this Attorney General, and she has no business as a member of the executive branch telling us in the legislative branch what to do. And look, I'm an attorney too, so I would hope she knows about the separation of powers, but we're not going to be bullied by her. But I will say she knows that oversight's coming, and accountability to her department and scrutiny of her budget, and we're going to get her office under control because she's out of control and she's not running it very well. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about our restaurant workers. And you look at, a group of people who've been absolutely bullied, and their livelihoods have been threatened by Democrats in government. I mean, going all the way back to the pandemic when they wouldn't, the restaurants were the most picked on industry. Many closed, and here we are today where many restaurants, over 20%, are facing closure again come early next year. All of those restaurant workers are going to lose their jobs. And for the ones that stay open, the restaurant workers are going to make a lot less money because the tipping system is going to go away. That's basically what's going to happen. The tipping system will go away. And prices are going to go up. I mean, you're going to be paying $25 for a burger. We keep hearing that it'll be 25% increase in food and beverage when you come to restaurants. How many Michiganders can afford that? How many people are going to go out to eat? And so you're going to see restaurants close. You're going to see workers laid off. And what is it the Democrats are doing? Okay, what they want to do today, based on what I've seen, are things like making corrections workers register prisoners to vote. I mean, you look at these correction workers, they're some of the most overworked people in the state. I mean, we're having a struggle getting these people to come, to find people to work in the prisons. And it's really important work, to our public safety. And here we are trying to put more mandates on them to register prisoners to work. And then the other idea they have is to start gerrymandering to allow, like playing around with where prisoners are counted for population censuses, to screw around with political districts. I mean, what's more important? Where prisoners are decided on where they're registered to vote, whether it's here or there, or saving our restaurant industry. I mean, I look at this stuff, they have this thing they call the Death Star they want to do this week, which would basically create a total mess where every local government will have different labor policies, different wage policies, different leave policies. It would make it impossible to have a restaurant in multiple communities. It would make it difficult for our retailers. That's going to cost so many jobs if you have a policy like the Death Star. And so we're looking through all these things they want to do. I mean, I'm just going to go through a couple more. because I want you all to know why we're not coming in today. You know, they want to regulate the hell out of charter schools, right? I don't know. Do Democrats know that some people go to charter schools and that actually helps them? Like, if you go to a charter school and you live in a community that's underprivileged, some people go to charter schools, kids, and they get a great education, and it puts them on a trajectory to be successful in life. Do Democrats know that? And these are the people that just got rid of A through F for schools. They don't want you measuring schools' performance, except they want to regulate the hell out of charter schools and put them out of business. I would go, I mean, when you look at somebody like Karen Whitsett, who's one of the only honest Democrats out there, a brave person who's standing up for her district, is she going to come in and vote to kill all the charter schools in Detroit? I mean, that would set that city back considerably. I'll just point out, they want to put a bill up to let criminals, violent criminals, out of prison early in violation of the state's truth in sentencing laws. And is that the conversation we should be having right now? Is that what the people of Michigan want? Politicians to come in and get rid of and let violent criminals out of prison early in violation of truth in sentencing? And who talks to the victims, you know? Not these Democrats. So I would just say, we want to save our restaurant industry. We don't want to let violent criminals out of prison, which is what Democrats are proposing. We don't want corrections workers to have to force prisoners to register to vote. We don't want to kill charter schools. We don't want to create a confusing regulatory nightmare in every different district across our state with crazy labor policies from community to community. We want to save our restaurant industry. We want to protect workers' earned sick leave, and we want to fix our roads. And I'll tell you, I commend Governor Whitmer on this, and I don't know if I've ever said that before. I got to think. But I commend Governor Whitmer on this. You know, according to MERS, and I see Kyle Malin here, great reporting by MERS. I saw some in Gongwer, and if it's true that Governor Whitmer has given these Democrats an ultimatum and said, look, if you don't fix things, if you don't promote policies on roads, then I may not sign your bills. Well, you know what? Kudos to Governor Whitmer for taking a stand on that, because that's very similar to our position. We want to work on meaningful issues in lame duck, like fixing our roads, saving our tips, saving our restaurant industry, and making sure workers get a fair sick and earned sick time policy. That's what we want to do. It sounds like Governor Whitmer is on that team. I give her credit for that. But Joe Tate totally is fumbling this lame duck, and you see it from his members. Don't just take it from me. I mean, you look at what Joey Andrews said. Joey Andrews made it clear the Democrats were willing, some of them, to address these issues, and Joe Tate fumbled it. And you look at what Karen Whitsett said, and you want to talk about mistreated. Look at the way they're treating her. I mean, I watched them on the floor, you know, from my office, and they're surrounding her. You got 4 or 5 people surrounding her, you know, bullying her all night. And I'll tell you this, you know, based on the reports, and you're telling her we're going to vote on the tip credit, and then you meant, no, we're going to vote on the tipping fee, and we're going to raise your garbage tax 270%. I mean, how would you feel if you were told that by your leadership? We would never treat any of our members that way. We would never do that. We would never lie to our members. We would never bully our members. And shame on Joe Tate for treating a duly elected representative of his own city and his own caucus that way, who's just fighting for her district. So I give her a lot of credit. She's a very brave person, and she speaks the truth. And she's not always on my side. But I have a lot of respect for her for fighting for her community, and I wish more Democrats would do that. I think if they did, they would do much better at the polls on Election Day. There's a couple more things I just want to point out here that they're trying to ram through. I'm just looking at this. Oh yeah. So the other thing, I think this is interesting. So I don't know about you guys, but you know, you probably pay more than 20% for your health care, I would guess, your reporters. And that's how it is for most people. Most people, as healthcare costs are going up, are paying more and more of their healthcare. What Democrats want to do today and this week is they want to change it so that politicians and other government workers, many of which, by the way, you look at all these government workers, and Dana Nessel doesn't talk about this, how many government workers are in their offices right now? I would bet you it's like 10%. I mean, they're all at home, and then the Democrats want you guys to pay for more of our health care. So I'm thinking, I want to earmark it so Craig Mauger has to pay my health care with his, because that guy works hard, all you guys work hard. So it's like, you guys are going to pay more of your paychecks in order to make sure that I don't have to pay my own health care costs as a government worker, other politicians and state workers. I mean, you guys should be outraged, and the public should be outraged. We're going to give politicians and government workers more, with our hard-earned money, as our health care costs are going up, we're going to pay their health care costs when these people don't even go into work in the office? It's incredible. I mean, what about the taxpayers? You know, why is it always, oh, we got to make sure that government workers have this gold standard care and treatment, but all the people that actually pay their salaries, yeah, we're going to take their jobs away, and we're going to make sure they make less money. That's what the Democrats are proposing. That's why we're not coming in. It's crazy, the backwards priorities. I just want to talk about Friday the 13th for a second. You guys realize it was Friday the 13th when we walked out? Pretty cool, huh? But, you know, I mean, unfortunately, it's not good for the people of Michigan. I mean, you look at what happened that night. They put, and so Democrats have to own Friday the 13th and what they did on their way out of power, okay? And what they did is they took more money out of your paychecks, they saddled the state with an enormous amount of debt, and they started fighting some of these culture wars that the people of Michigan have radically rejected on this Friday the 13th. So you look at this, I mean, they're putting the pensions of every state police worker in this state in jeopardy by saddling the pension fund with $25 billion of new debt. Okay, who's going to pay that? How are we going to pay that? And these are the same people that say we don't have $2.5 billion or $2.7 billion to fix the roads. Oh, we don't have that, but we'll come up with $25 billion and you know, of new liability in the state police pension fund. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? But nobody believes them. The money's not there to fix the roads. So I look at that. I look at this, you know, allowing you to change your gender identity on your driver's license without any proof. I mean, you could have a minor go in there without a parent, change his or her gender identity on her driver's license, or you know, when you're under 18, whether it's with the you know, the ones the 14-year-olds have or the ones the 16-year-olds have, you go in, you can change your gender identity on a driver's license. You look at the problems that causes for law enforcement. If you're trying to, you know, someone commits a crime, they go in, they change their gender or their sex on the driver's license without any evidence or proof of that. That's not the kind of stuff the people of Michigan want to see right now. You look at the policies they rammed through on Friday the 13th related to these libraries where, you know, if there's objectionable material in your local library, you know, they're going to allow it. You can't take it away if it's some kind of, you know, thing that kids shouldn't be looking at. And you can't even have a conversation on that because it's protected by Elliott Larson, Civil Rights Act. That's not what the people of Michigan want. I mean, you see grassroots movements moving across the state, whether it's in communities near me in Kalamazoo County, all the way to Dearborn, which, by the way, President Trump did pretty well in Dearborn, and we have a couple Democrat members over there that Trump won their districts. And these people are coming in and voting to allow transgender books in their libraries, probably even school libraries. I mean, what is going on with these people? The people do not want that. That's not what they want us here to do. We're better off just adjourning than doing that kind of stuff.
That's right.
You know, I look at this stuff they did, 6160 in Saginaw County. So the people of Saginaw County for decades have voted against higher property taxes. in Saginaw City. What do the Democrats do? They come in the middle of the night and they create a state law. They're trying to create a state law that overrides the people of Saginaw and says, we're gonna raise your taxes anyway, your property taxes. Is that what people want? They want, so if you're a restaurant worker in Saginaw, you're gonna lose your job, you're gonna get your wages cut, and then the Democrats are gonna force you to raise your property taxes even though you voted against it time after time? I mean, where are our Saginaw elected officials on the Democrat side speaking for the taxpayers? It's crazy what these people do. They want to double hotel fees in Macomb, Oakland, and Wayne counties to create some kind of Visit Detroit Bureau so they can put up more billboards on I-94 telling people to visit Detroit. I mean, that's more important to them than saving our restaurant industry. I think that can wait. These people believe that the new economic development solution for Michigan is e-bikes. These people want to give, the MEDC with Quentin Messer is going to decide who gets e-bikes with $500. I mean, what is that? I mean, why would the MEDC give out e-bike vouchers? Okay, and your tax dollars are going for that. So you think about that. I mean, if you're a restaurant worker, you're gonna pay you're gonna be paying for people's e-bikes, and you're gonna let Quentin Messer decide. And I'll tell you, this guy, he doesn't always make the best decisions with these deals. So I don't know how he's gonna decide who gets e-bikes and who doesn't. That'll be interesting to watch if it happens. They want to gerrymander county commissions. So we wanted to talk about saving the restaurant industry and helping our tips, keeping tips and keeping restaurant workers wage high. These people are trying to figure out how to stack the Kent County Commission with Democrats. So they're playing around, what if we had these 4 politicians instead of these 4 politicians deciding county commission districts in these counties, and maybe if we do that, the lines will change a little bit, and the politicians we favor will get elected to county commission. You guys really think we should be here to do that? I mean, that's not a serious policy that we should be working on, and that's what they were doing on Friday the 13th and trying to screw around with these county commission districts. So, I mean, there's a lot that they were trying to do, but I'm just trying to lay this out. So that's why Karen Whitsett is saying enough is enough, and she's not coming in, because the Democrats are not working on serious policies. And you read all the reporting, and there's been some very good reporting. I think Gongwer started it, but so many good stories in Bridge and Detroit News and MERS and all over, where Democrats are speaking out against Joe Tate and the priorities that he's trying to put forward in this lame duck. So all we're asking for is, let's work on serious issues. Let's address roads. Our county and city roads need help. And from what I've read, the governor agrees with that, okay? Let's go work on roads. Let's go work on saving our restaurant industry and saving their jobs of our workers. They work hard and they deserve to make a good living for their families. And then third, let's save the earned sick credit system. That's really important, that if you get sick, that you have the hours in order to go take care of yourself and your family. That's all we want. And let's drop all these silly issues that have no meaning for the people of Michigan. And then I would just say, if they don't do that, then just adjourn. I'd be curious, have any of you reporters done your Christmas shopping? I mean, we're here every night till 10 p.m., 11 p.m., 5 a.m. in the Senate with no plan. And a bunch of bills that are not important. And that's what they keep you here to do. So we're just saying enough's enough, and let's work on something important, and we'll be there. So good to see you, Rep. Frisky. Great guy. So I guess we'll take some questions, and I can see you. All right, Claire, go ahead. Well, I just say that, yeah, I mean, the governor and I have spoken, and I think she reported that. I think their office put out a statement that her and I met. And I'll just say, I've made it clear and some of the reporters have got this wrong, so I want to make sure I lay this out correctly, and hopefully you guys will report it accurately. So we went into caucus 2 days after the election and elected me the speaker-elect. And I came out and we did a scrum together with many of you, and I said, we need to fix our roads, okay? I came in and put that on the table and said, that's what we're here to do. Then, the governor asked for a meeting. And so I met with her, and, we haven't worked together very much before. And so, I think that the key here is, I think these Democrats, they hear so much negative things about me in the press and from the other Democrats and from the lobbyists, because we're here to change the status quo in Lansing, and that makes people scared. But they, I think she was trying to assess, is this somebody I can work with? And the way that I've tried to act, whether it's with you in the press or with the Democrat elected officials, including Speaker Tate and the governor, I've always tried to be honest with them. I've tried to be clear about my position. I've tried to have a position and be clear about it. I've tried to only come in knowing where my members and my caucus are. And I've always given them good advice, and I've always worked with them in good faith. And so that's the way that I, tried to present myself to the governor. It's the way I've tried to present myself to Tate. And I hope that they all see that, and I hope that they see that I'm committed, and our caucus is committed to solving the real problems facing the people of Michigan, whether it's saving our restaurant industry or fixing the roads. I would just observe about Speaker Tate. From what I can see, this is an individual who has no priorities, doesn't know what to do. He comes in every day into session without a plan. We go into meetings, I've been in them, where everyone else in the room is negotiating in good faith, and he makes commitments, and then later comes back to us and says, I can't deliver on those commitments, okay? So I would just ask you this, whether you're Winnie Brinks or Gretchen Whitmer or me or our caucus, is that who you want to negotiate with? Somebody who wastes your time and can't deliver? And so I think that would probably answer your question about why Gretchen Whitmer wanted to meet with me. Yeah, I was going to ask her. Kyle, you ever heard of icing the kicker? Yeah, we're icing him. I'm hoping you fumble your question if you have to think about it longer, because he's tough. Yeah.
I'm Lily from Gonwer, by the way.
Great job. Great reporting you've been doing.
So Representative Whitsett has said that water affordability is one of the items on her list to get her back in the chamber, and she said that she hopes to get it done next year if it doesn't happen in lame duck. Is that something you're committed to working on?
So I've not discussed that with her. Yeah, Kyle.
Are you concerned that next session the Democrats will try the same thing and not show up to the session because they don't like your agenda?
Do you think Dana Nessel will call them criminals if they do? I don't remember anyone in the Democrat side calling them criminals. Some of these people walked out of committee. I saw this Pohanke. Pohanke says, oh my gosh, they walked out. I would never do that. And then there was a video floating around of her walking out of the committee room. And then they tell me that, what was it? The Democrats walked off when it was right to work. Somebody should have told Attorney General Schuette, I guess that's a criminal offense. I didn't know that. But most people believe in the separation of powers, even if our Attorney General doesn't. But to answer your question, your question about, what was it about?
Setting a precedent. Yeah,
setting a precedent. So I would just say that you don't get here easily, all right? And so in my view, you look at what we've done as a caucus. When Joe Tate was there, he's taking away people's office staff. I mean, you look at Josh Shriver. Josh Shriver still doesn't have staff. Even after the people reelected him, he still doesn't have staff. And how long has that been? Okay? So I'm just saying, do you believe, and we can disagree with what Josh Shriver said, But do you believe that he should still not have staff and his constituents should still not have staff after he was reelected? And so I would say the answer to that is no. So, you know, you look at negotiation after negotiation that we've had with Tate, where Tate comes in and then backs out of the deal after it's agreed to, and oftentimes after we've performed on the deal. You look at an unprecedented level of mixing around committee assignments from our members. I mean, you look, I don't think, Neil, you're probably still not on committees. And, you know, Neil, I mean, for 2 years, this guy's not on committees because of one vote he cast. And we've got probably 10 members that are not on committees because of that. I mean, so, you know, you look at that and then you say, we negotiate with this guy. He goes back on the deals. You see, you know, the tradition in this town has been to allow the minority leader to pick the committee assignments and vice chairs for their members. And Speaker Tate did something unprecedented. He rearranged dozens of these, okay? So you have good members who were denied committees they asked for and replaced with members who had no interest on serving on those committees. You go through a period of shared power where we had a real opportunity in a 54-54 body to work together. They wouldn't run real mundane bills by our members that would pass 110-0. They wouldn't run them. You look at what, from June until November, they hold one session day. And, you know, I mean, when Zach Gorchow made that point in Gongwer, I was floored. Because that's probably one of the only things he's written that I agree with. So I give him credit. You know, this guy he saw this for what it is. These arguments from Joe Tate are not valid. I mean, this guy doesn't have session for 6 months. And I thought Zach made a great point on this too. So what happens is a normal legislature and a real leader, they would be doing all the work on all of these bills during the shared power period where nothing happened, and then for that period between June and November where there were one session day. You do all the hard work in committees. You work, you know, with the stakeholders. You bring in Republicans. And then if you want to pass a bunch of unpopular policies and lame duck, you've done the work and you come in. Instead, what these people are doing is they're showing up like Jim Hadsma, throwing binders on the table and saying, we don't have any time for the public to testify, let's ram this thing through committee. Who's on that committee? Mike Mueller. Okay, how do you think he feels about that? Show the people of Michigan respect. Allow them to testify on these policies. Do the work, get the input across Michigan and craft public policies that will work. I mean, we were at the Electoral College yesterday. You guys see Eric Nesbitt break the gavel? That was pretty cool. And I saw there was a really good photo of that, so thanks for taking that. But do you know that those electors have to sign like 150 certificates now? So when I was there in 2016 in the gallery, it was probably like 15. And so we asked, why do they have to sit here for an hour and sign 150 certificates now? Do you know why? Because whatever election law the Democrats were changing in the middle of the night, they made a mistake. And we found out about that mistake when we were on the floor and our people have to sign 150 certificates. I asked our people, I said, what are they going to do with all these certificates? Where are they going to send them? Like, what would you do with 150 certificates signed by the electors, and where would you send them? Those are the kind of things that happen when you're ramming through policies in the middle of the night without any testimony. I mean, these amendments fly in. Nobody has a chance to read them. I mean, you read what Whipsett said. She doesn't know what they're voting on. They're working off of word of mouth. The madness needs to end, and that's hopefully going to happen very soon. So the reason I say all that is you have to make a series of mistakes over 2 years and personally screw up with every single member of the minority party in order to get to this situation. And then you have to be pushing through things that are as big of a joke as the things that Speaker Tate's trying to move. And that's why, and then you have to have members of your own party pointing that out. So I don't think we'll ever be in that situation, because we're just going to be collaborative. That's why I came out and I raised the office allotments for all the Democrats, and we treated them equally. Tate was like, we're in the majority, so we get $3,000 more than you because we're bigger, right? That's not how we're going to lead. So I think we set a tone by giving everyone the same allotment. I've told members of the Democrat Party, we're going to tell you what we're voting on in advance. We're going to allow you to speak on the floor. I mean, remember how many times they gavelled down our members? And then there's one more thing about Tate, and this guy has set the record as Speaker of the House for most failed bills. I mean, they had 2 just the other day, but I bet if you counted it up, it'd be 30 or 40 bills that have failed. And then they have that 293, which has failed 3 times, and they keep trying to put it up. They just whip by failing bills on the board. I've never seen anything like it. But anyway, I just say we're never going to do that, because we're going to communicate with the other side. We're going to treat them fairly. We're going to treat their staff fairly. We're going to allow their ideas to move forward at times. I mean, if a Democrat has a good idea, we'll help them get it done. I don't care who gets the credit. And so I think if we treat the members of the other party with respect, we'll never get in this situation. And that's what we intend to do next year, Kyle.
We've got time for 2 more.
What do you say to the public that's going to look at this and think you're not doing your job, you're not going to session to elect these people that don't vote on bills?
So, number one, Joe Tate has not had session from June to November. What were these guys doing? And I would go back to the people of Michigan and I would say this, there's a lot of facets to this job. And I think you're going to see members in their districts over the next couple of days going and visiting restaurants. That's one of the reasons we're here, talking to restaurant workers, explaining why they're fighting for them. You're going to see our members out in their public, in their communities. You're going to see them doing good constituent work and constituent service. But we need to bring this madness to an end. And if Joe Tate will put up bills that matter to the people of Michigan, like fixing our roads, improving our sick leave policies for workers, and fixing the tip system and saving our restaurant workers, we'll come in and vote. But people in our districts don't want us coming in and gerrymandering Kent County Commission districts and making correction workers register prisoners to vote, and distributing e-bikes through the Economic Development Corporation. They don't want that. And so we'll firmly stand with our districts on fighting for issues that matter. I think Beth had a question over here. This should be good.
Yeah, are you sure House Democrats can't peel off any of your members to come in and today on any of your legislation, be it FOIA or any other priorities that your members can have?
Yeah, so I would say this, okay? There are some conversations that go on. And so, we waited until about 5 o'clock yesterday approximately to put out an announcement that we weren't coming in unless Democrats put up meaningful bills like fixing our roads, saving our tips and restaurant industry, and fixing sick leave policies. The Democrats had no plan and no agenda that they could share with us. And so it wasn't until we said that we're not coming in until they address real issues that an agenda came out. And I would just say this, Tate has avoided that FOIA bill for 2 years. I find it interesting that, and by the way, if Craig Mauger is listening, stop giving Tate ideas. Because I read this tweet from Mauger that says, wouldn't it be interesting if Tate put this up? And what would the Republicans do? And then what does he do? Like an hour later, he does it. So stop advising the Democrats by Twitter reporters, okay? So that's what he does. He knows it's going to fail, and that's why he's putting it up, and he thinks that you reporters will write nice stories about him. But he waits until after we say we're not coming in to put it up because he knows it'll fail. That's just my view.
But he's not doing individual outreach to any of your members that you know?
So before, all right, so unlike Tate, what Tate does is Tate goes out and makes deals and makes comments without talking to his caucus. and knowing where they're at, and that's one of the reasons his members are being so open and critical of him. What I do is I talk to all of our members before we make a decision, and so I'm confident every one of our members is committed to what we're trying to do, which is save our restaurant industry, save our earned sick leave policies, and fix the roads. So, you know, every member committed to me and to each other that we're gonna stay committed to that. And you know, we've never had that happen where this year where our members went back on their word to me or to our members.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Job, Hall.